Isn't it wonderful to be able to have a nice cup of tea? I'm sure there are many people in the world who don't even have any tea. Well, this gospel of the life that wins is that exactly what it is. I am a little more. I am trying to, and am. I've done it now for how many years? More than I want to tell you. But my whole life has been built around taking people, changing them, upgrading them, setting them free. I mean, you talk about going to a psychiatrist. You talk about, and I believe in those things. I believe in psychiatry and other matters. But let me tell you something. I have a secret, and I'm trying to share it with you through this international video. And you know, there are lots of people out there that hear these and love. In fact, we've had, I think, 47 nations, 46 nations that have plugged in to this. But you know, I think about how many people you know that are struggling with marriage, with happiness, with sin, and with guilt, and have no motivation for life. You could send these on to them. Why don't you do this? You know, I say to people who are in the church, sometimes you're the last ones who want to reach out. And Jesus said, reach out, send out, go make disciples. And I'm doing that by this means. I did it many, many years in a pulpit, and thousands were touched. But oh, my prayer has been that we would have 300,000 people touching in on these videos, and I'm working on it. I'm trying to do it. I've got people to helping me. But today, I'm as I always do. I want to tell you something that I think is just what Jesus said. Jesus said, Peter, you are this, but you're going to be. Simply, he said, thou art, thou shalt be. In other words, Jesus Christ is saying to you, and I'm saying to you as well, that whatever you are now, that's dragging you down, defeating your life, making your business unproductive, and your home is sort of in a hellish thing, or your business is dragging along, you are. That's what this, listen to that. That's what you are. But you know, Jesus says, but I'm going to make you into what you have never been. Oh, I have a reading here, an article I read some time ago about a little girl. She was about 10 years of age, and she had what they call a disorder. These psychiatrists and psychologists got with her, and they call it a reactive detachment disorder. Now that's pretty big, but it was the wrong interpretation of her need. And so what this little girl, 10 years of age, was saying to these clinics that are clinicians that I cannot get attached to my adopted mother, and I don't want to be attached. I want my mother. Sad, isn't it, to hear those things? So these men said, well, we can give you a rebirth. We will help you to have a rebirth. And when we get through rebirthing you in this session, you will be able to attach yourself to your new mother. And I want to cry right there, you know. How many people are detached from life and detached from good, detached from their own children? They're detached from their own wives, detached from godly people. This little girl, so they said, had this problem. There was just the fact that she was not being able to be attached. So what they did, it's the strangest thing I ever read. What they did, they wrapped this child up in blankets, like sheets and blankets and wrapped her all up. And they said, now, these blankets are representing your mother's womb. And these pillows we're pushing on you represent you being born. And the little 10-year-old, listen, this little 10-year-old cried out. She said, no, my heart and my soul, I will not have affections. And I'll never know what a mother is until my own mother. And they said, yes, you will. And they wrapped her up. And she was screaming for mercy, screaming to live. I don't want to die. And they wrapped her up and all of that. And she said, no. And they said, when we get through this session, you will be reborn. And you'll be able to attach. In the process, she died. Oh, God. And I've said to myself, many people have tried to reattach. Many people have gone on as Peter was. Peter, you're weak, you're stumbling, you lie, you fail, you couldn't get enough fish, you're unfaithful, you're disloyal, you left me when you should have stood with me. We give up on people like that. We just say, well, they're failures and I'm not going to have any time for them. You know, Jesus never gave up. He always said, I'll make you what you want to be, what you ought to be. And the reason you're unhappy and divorced and fighting and losing money and being sick in mind, many times in body, is because you haven't had that attachment to Him who can give you a rebirth. They call it being born again. Thou art. So what am I trying to say this morning? I am trying to say you can start life all over again. Now you say that's impossible. No? Start it all over again. I've had men to do it. Women. I've had prostitutes to do it. I've had men who lied on their wives, lied to their wives, and lived in adultery for years and years. Big men, rich men, powerful men. I've watched them be rebirthed in their offices. I laid my hands on a man worth millions. Wore big diamonds on his necktie. I laid my hands on him in prayer in his office and prayed, and he was set free. And he said to me, when you took your hands off of me, I felt that spirit go out of me. That's being born again. I didn't wrap him in a sheet, but in faith. Well, this is Don Poston. I hope I've helped you today. So look up The Life That Wins. DonHPoston.com. You'll find everything there about us. Well, listen, I love you much. I'm glad we had this time together. And so I will see you the next time. I hope by that time you spread the word around the world. This is Don Poston on The Life That Wins. Bye-bye.